What's up, everybody? It's Coach K in the building. Y'all, I'm super excited to be here tonight. I got a special guest. I'm going to be doing an interview tonight with Dr. Sean Trexler. For those of y'all who are tuning in right now, I appreciate you for being here. Let your boy know down in the comment box that you're live right now. All right, put Team Live down. For those of you on replay, hit your boy up. Let me know that you're on replay, because tonight I got some absolute fire. I'm going to be, asking Dr. Sean Trexler some questions about how he crushed the NPTE, even despite the fact that he's had some issues. I'll let him tell the whole thing. For those of you who are new to the PT hustle, warm freaking welcome. My name is Dr. Kyle Rice. My students call me Coach K. I help PT students and grads who struggle with standardized tests absolutely dominate the NPTE. And we do it through step-by-step instruction, helping with your mentality, your mindset, your test strategy, your study strategies, making sure that every component of your NPTE prep is on freaking point. You hear me? And tonight, I'm going to give you an exact example of how the PT Hustle does it, because I'm bringing in Dr. Sean Trexler, my man, who's actually one of my coaching students. And so I'm going to be asking him quite a few juicy questions tonight. Really trying to pull out his story so that he can motivate you, inspire you, but also give you some tips for how you can take your game to the next level. Cool? All right. So again, let me know down in the comment box if you're ready for tonight for us to drop absolute fire. Please leave a love on this and welcome my man, Dr. Sean Trexler. I'm going to bring him up here in a moment. I see Dominique is in here. What's up, Darina? Yeah, we got Nicole in here too. I'm fired up. I'm so excited. All right, let me stop playing with y'all. I'm going to bring the doctor in here in a moment. Let's check him out. All right, where you at? There he is. Y'all see me? Boy, Coach K getting good at all this little technology stuff. Y'all, I'm so excited tonight, all right? Again, this is Dr. Sean Trexler, one of my coaching students. I want to introduce him. He's from Walsh University. This guy right here is one of the hardest workers that I know. But hardworking nowadays, I guess it's not what it used to be. It's not what it used to be, because everybody says, oh, I'm a hard worker. Well, yeah, he's a hard worker. But the one thing I will say is that he's committed and he's disciplined. And to be a hard worker, committed, and disciplined, all of that together, that's kind of hard to find. Not many people have all three of those. I want to tell you, and trust me, as I'm asking the questions, you're going to see exactly what I mean by him having all three of these gems. But this guy's been able to go through so much adversity, but stay resilient throughout the whole freaking process. Get knocked down, get back up, knocked down, get back up, and going after what he believes in his dream. So tonight, I want to introduce you to Dr. Sean Trexler. He holds a special place in my heart. What's up, my man? Dr. Sean Trexler. What's up, baby?
How are you doing? Good.
All right. We're all, really, really glad to have you. Thank you for taking out your precious time for, to be with us tonight. You know what I want to do first is I want to really jump into getting to know you a little bit, kind of what school you went to. I did bring up Walsh University. What kind of brought you to the world of physical therapy? Let us know how you kind of got started in this world.
Yeah, so I went to Walsh University in North Canton, Ohio. I first kind of got introduced to physical therapy in high school just due to some sports injuries and things like that. And just consistently throughout college, I played baseball at Walsh and had a couple other injuries, and I was still introduced into the field and everything, and really just took a liking to it, just like the atmosphere of physical therapy, working with athletic trainers, with doctors, just the whole camaraderie of the career was very enticing to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I know that you went through PT school. One of the things that I personally struggle with a lot, and a lot of y'all listening to this know, like standardized tests, written tests in school. How'd you do with tests in general in school?
Honestly, like growing up, the Ohio boards test, like growing up, the ACT, SAT, all of that stuff, I always struggled with. But in class and everything, just normal tests, I didn't do too bad. And it was just those standardized tests that I really struggled with growing up.
Got you, got you. So when it came to like written tests in school, did pretty well on those. Did you have a lot of anxiety going into those exams, or were you pretty calm and collected?
No, I was pretty calm and collected, and even like oral presentations type tests and everything like that. In PT school, I did phenomenal with. No hands-on tests, no issue at all. But the standardized tests, I just really struggled with.
All right, so let's get into the mentality of that because this is interesting. There's some of us who trip out like crazy in PT school and like we super anxious about every little test. And then some of
Mhm.
us are like you who only trip out really on standardized. What is it about the standardized test that kind of gets you?
I don't know. I just feel like I'm so confined during the standardized test for some reason. And then also with when I initially took the NPTE, COVID hit, and the whole having to wear the mask the whole time. And that kind of got into my head a little bit with like the whole breathing aspect during the test. It felt like I was struggling to breathe here and there. And then obviously you can't bring it below your nose to actually catch a deep breath there and get in trouble for that. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so we started, at the end of PT school. I should say we got to the end of PT school, and I'm guessing Walsh University did some type of training at the end. Talk to us a little bit about how you kind of got started studying for the NPT initially.
So initially, it was just they recommended buying the Score Builders book, kind of reading through that, taking a practice test here and there, seeing what sections you did poor in, and kind of trying to improve that specific section and going about it from there. However, right after PT school for me, I ended up pushing my initial test back due to all of the COVID things that were happening. And also we ended up not going back to school because of COVID as well. So we finished remotely.
Got you. Got you. Yeah. So last year was like super crazy, like pretty much unprecedented times when it comes down to the NPTE, taking it random times, all that stuff. So how was your like studying during that point? Like, how did you prepare for the NPTE initially?
Initially, my studying was kind of sporadic because after I pushed it back that first time, I was kind of like, all right, well, I have a little bit of a break here, so I don't need to study as hard as I was previously, which that obviously didn't help me because I didn't pass the first time, the second time, or the third time. But yeah, just pushing it back initially really, I think it hurt me quite a bit with all of the COVID stuff going on.
So was it, I mean, when you say that you postponed it or pushed it back initially, was it completely just like the circumstances that were happening, or was it just you internally feeling like I needed to push this back?
Yeah, I just thought internally I needed to push it back just with everything spiraling around. And I wasn't doing as well with my practice exam scores. I wasn't happy with where I was at. So I was like, with COVID and everything going on, maybe pushing it back will be good for this time. But
Got you, got you. So let me ask you this, and this is a little on the personal side, so you don't have to get too specific. But when you say that you were scoring lower on practice exams, what's kind of like a roundabout? What do you mean?
I would say I was like borderline pretty much, maybe like 5% below. So around like 65% ish, somewhere around there, testing score wise.
Yeah, and that
But
was
I
on.
wasn't confident in like going into the MPT and being like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna smash this. So
Got you. Got you. Got you. Okay. So you actually had alluded to this already. You had said, hey, I took it the first time. I didn't do well. I didn't pass it. I took it a second time. I didn't pass it. Like, what's going through your mind as you're taking this multiple times?
oh, it's crushing. It's just devastating. The second time after I didn't pass it, I missed it by I believe 4 points. And just seeing that is just like so crushing. Just seeing that you're so close and then just not getting past it.
Yeah. You know, I remember, all the times that I struggled, whether it was like standardized exams in the past, before PT school or even the written ones, you study really hard. And whether you're looking for an A on this exam, B plus, whatever it is, when you don't get it, it's still devastating. Like that alone is devastating because, you put
Absolutely.
so much time into it. But then to go into something like the NPTE where it's like, you got to pass this thing. Otherwise, now you got to wait an additional 3 months, and then the judgment and the disappointment and all those things. Like, did you feel any of that, Sean? Like, as far as like disappointment to yourself or disappointing others,
Oh,
or
absolutely. I definitely felt that way, especially when I'm seeing all of my friends in PT school all passing it with flying colors and everyone's out working, finding jobs and everything like that. And then just like, man, I really wish I would have passed 2 times. Then the third time comes around and not passing that, it's just like killer blow after killer blow. But after that, and then I found your course after the third one, and it was like I was kind of reinvigorated with the like wanting to study and then really, really wanting to pass this next time.
got you, got you. So before we go into that, tell me a little bit more about these 3 times, because Sean, this is very important for a lot of people watching right now. And if y'all have questions for Sean, make sure you start dropping them down so I'll ask them at the end, okay? But this is super important because we got a lot of people that are literally in the same position that
Yeah,
you were, right? And it's like when you pass, you start to somewhat forget how it felt. I think it's because you were like burying all of those feelings, right? But I think it's important, Sean, that we take a moment to look at what you were like really going through during those times where you were failing, and then how you came out of those feelings. Like, because not everyone can just continue pushing forward. Sean, that's
right.
different. That's different. So I really want to understand, okay, what did you do to like pull yourself out of those times where you said it was a killer blow? Like, how the heck did you return from that?
Honestly, after like the first time, I was like, I kind of chalked it up to, okay, this was COVID kind of getting in my way and everything like that. Kind of come back, study a little bit harder, and miss it by 4 points. I mean, that's just so close to passing. I'm like, all right, I am so close to being there. And then that third time, I think that was the hardest time to come back from, just because I'd scored worse than I did on the second one. And then it's just one of those things where it's like you just have to will yourself to continue to keep studying, knowing you're going to pass.
Was there anybody or anything that you were using to kind of continue to get you to push, or was it just, hey, I just got to continue to do this?
My girlfriend, my family, my friends, they were all great support throughout the entire thing. They had the utmost support in me and just kept motivating me and pushing me. And I would say that was the biggest thing that helped me throughout.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Y'all, so I want to take a moment. I want to take a quick moment to like stop for a second, because there's some people that are listening to me right now, whether you're on replay or whether you're live with me and you just failed the NPTE or you failed it in the past or whatnot. And I really want you to hear that how much the people around you are important. And this is something that I talk about in my coaching program all the time, that the people that you're surrounded by are so vital to your NPTE score. And as I'm listening now to Sean, I'm like, okay, this man went through what he calls killer blows. I mean, that's some pretty like, I mean, strong words to use, right? And that is literally how it feels though when you fail. It really is. But how do you come back from that? Making sure that you got the right people around you that can push and continue to like keep your eyes on what you're doing all of this for. And it's a freaking game changer. So for those of you out there that are in that position, make sure you're putting yourself around a team, a group of people that can support you. The ride, I call them ride or dies. All right, ride or freaking dies. I mean, do y'all agree to that? Let me know down in the comment box. Like I said, Sean's dropping absolute fire. Sean, we're gonna jump to the part where you said now you had finished your third attempt. It was that killer blow, but you decided, I'm gonna get back up and I'm gonna continue to push. So talk to us a little bit about like how you found the PT hustle. Why did you make that decision?
So after that third test, one of my friends in my PT program, Asia, she reached out and mentioned your name, and that's how I kind of got into the PT hustle, is through her.
Ooh, shout out to Asia, baby. Shout out, baby. If you watching this, I love you, girl. All right, so you got into the PT hustle, and so talk to us a little bit about what changed for you, because you did mention a word. You said I got reinvigorated. That's what you said. So, like, what do
Yeah.
you mean by that?
So throughout the PT hustle program, basically my whole mindset, along with studying, had basically changed. It's like my whole routine was different. I would say everything that you suggest throughout the program, whether it's uh, study habit wise, who you're studying with wise, what you're doing throughout the day to help provide you with more energy to study, or taking your own like rest breaks, mental breaks whenever you need them, things like that. That just I wasn't thinking about on my own.
One of the things that as you were going through the program, that I found that you were doing very well was you started to change like the way that you were studying a bit, like your study strategies and all of
Yeah,
that. Like, what are some game changers that that you were doing incorrectly or just weren't working for you that you switched up?
I would say one huge thing was that I didn't have a group of people that I was studying with, because in PT school that was one huge way that I studied, was studying in groups. Just talking things out, going through stuff just helps really slam home the topic basically.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you have, again, it keeps coming back to that, making sure you're having a supportive group of people around you, not just family and friends. That's cool, but also making sure that you're bouncing these concepts and these ideas off of people. All
Definitely.
right. So talk to us about your days a little bit, because I'm getting some questions from people that are saying, wait, so how much were you studying each day? Were you putting in 8, 10, 12 hours a day? Like, be honest, Sean, what were you looking like?
Absolutely not. After taking the test 3 times, I was kind of like, prior to, I was studying those 6 hour days, but for this last test, I think I averaged, I would say 4 hours was my average, I would say, throughout the week. And then I had a rest day on Sunday. And I
Gotcha.
really tried to take like, I tried to exercise each day a little bit, whether it was going for a run or whatever. And then Thursdays, I played softball at night with friends. And that was like my exercise for that day.
All right, so Gabby, I know you're here live with me. So here's the thing, because there's quite a few of you that are wondering. All right, what did Sean do differently to change the game? He said that he failed the first 3 times, killer blows, but he was able to come back on this fourth attempt and absolutely crush it. So it's kind of like, okay, what happened? What did he do? Um, so some things that it sounds like he changed for himself was how he was studying, the group of people that he was studying around. Sounds like he got some support, not just people that are like, oh yeah, keep going, but other people that were like motivated and dedicated to the process, so that he was bouncing ideas off of people that actually cared about it. I think that that's super important. But the other thing, y'all, this is huge. I hope you're writing this down. Sean, you tell me if I'm a liar or not. But you actually started taking care of yourself more now by engaging in like outlets, not studying to the point of like physical and mental exhaustion, like actually being more well-rounded and like holistic, instead of, oh, I'm just going to bury my head in the books this entire time. Am I right or am I wrong?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. And that was one thing that was a big difference from the prior tests, that when I was studying earlier, like for those other tests, I was like each day just feeling fatigued and wore out and just like really just exhausted. But like only doing the 4 hours per day, but going through that routine, I was like energized to do it the next day and get back to it.
Okay. So we're hearing some of the good stuff tonight. I see you, Nicole. I see you, baby. So let me ask you this question, Sean. It's a toughie. What was your biggest obstacle that you faced heading towards this fourth attempt?
Biggest obstacle was just having the right mindset and just really sticking to my routine and having a set game plan going in.
And would you say that because that's one of the things that I feel starting my NPTE prep, I did not have at all. I didn't have a good plan.
Yeah, no,
Things were, go ahead.
I did not have a set game plan going in prior to, and like a couple of the tests in the beginning, I was kind of like rushing to do like a cheat sheet, and this time I didn't even do a cheat sheet to like start off. I just kind of went through the test, and as throughout, like a question would come up or something, and then I would write down those like parts that I recalled and just kind of really listed them out, and then just went through the question. All right, that was it exactly.
That's it. Nicole says, boom, Sean, you found the right ingredients for success. These people are loving you, man, loving you. All right, cool. So I want to talk a little bit tonight because I really found, as I had asked you some pre-interview questions, one thing that was kind of popping out is the whole like test taking element, not just the studying part, but the test taking element. Can you talk a little bit about how your test taking skill changed this fourth time around?
I would say my whole mindset changed going into this final test. I mean, before I was kind of going through the test just exhausted, like thinking, okay, 200 some questions left to go. But this test, my mindset, like I said, was just different. I just kind of went in 25 questions at a time, just 25 questions. They're like little quizzes, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. And when you think about it like that, it doesn't feel like it's just like weighing down on you. Oh, I've got 200 some questions left to go. And then also going through each 10 questions, just kind of giving yourself a little bit of motivation, just something just to look at on your cheat sheet. All right, get back to it after that. Just reading, keep going,
Right.
just keep going.
Y'all, I hope that you're hearing this right now. He is giving you some major ingredients for success right now. He really is. The one thing that I talk about in the coaching program is I talk about the value of looking at the little things, the small wins, the little things that you can do to raise your score. And that's one of the things I harped on with Sean. And Sean, I got a hard question coming up for you soon, brother. But here it is. That it was all about focusing on, okay, how can I fix this problem? Instead of, oh my gosh, I got to do all of this. I got to get all this information. It's like, no, hold on a minute. How can we raise your score by another question? How about another 2? How about another 3? Right? And then chipping away at this thing is what got you to the point where you were able to go in there and absolutely crush it. So let me ask you, Sean, when you were going through and you were taking your practice exams, there were times where you saw your practice exams going up. There were times where you start to see them dip back down. Talk to us about how you manage that mentally, because some people see their practice exam scores going down and they're like, I'm done. They literally quit. They're still studying, but they quit. So how did you deal with it?
So that is exactly what I experienced. Initially, practice exams were going up, and that's a great feeling. But then when they start to plateau or kind of decrease a little bit there, you kind of get a little bit hesitant. You kind of get that like voice back in your head, like, oh, okay, what's going on here? Are we kind of going back to what we were previously doing with those former 3 tests? But then I believe it was like midway through towards the end. I know you were asking about new opportunities for other people to study with and things like that. And that's when I kind of took that opportunity and ran with it and joined another group to study with as well. And we just started firing questions off left and right at each other. And that really helped a lot because that was like one of those study things that I used to do back in PT school with a group of friends, just studying together, throwing questions back and forth, and then hitting other topics off of that as well.
Isn't this wild, Sean? Though, because towards the end, right? I started to see something as a coach. I was like, okay, well, here's an opportunity for some people to get in, not to necessarily like leave their group, but to get in another group if they need it, right? If there's somebody that's like, hey, I need more. Well, why don't we do that? Why don't we look for that? And let me ask you, if you hadn't have taken that leap and got into that new group, I mean, how do you think this whole thing would have turned out?
You know, honestly, I think that was a big turning point for me, actually, because that was like towards the very end. I think there was 3 weeks left till the test, 2, 3 weeks, something like that. And we hit it hard. Like it was either a couple times a day or once a day or something like that. But we would study for a couple hours at a time, and we would go through topics, just throwing questions at each other. Like start with one PowerPoint, kind of make our way through it, and as we're going through, just hit a totally another topic that kind of correlates to what we're talking about, which was
Right,
huge.
right, right. Y'all, I hope that you're hearing this tonight. He's talking to you about the importance of groups. He's talking to you about the importance of making sure you have support around you. But he brought up a really good point a second ago. He brought up the point of opportunity. Some of you right now have been doing a DIY NPTE prep. What does that mean? You've been doing it all yourself. You're trying to study by yourself. You're trying to figure this out by yourself. And I want to tell you something, that when you're doing it all by yourself, not only are you missing out on the opportunity to have other people critique you and help you to learn the information better and bounce ideas off them, but you're also missing out on other opportunities because you're doing it all by yourself. You don't have somebody saying, hey, how about we start doing questions 3 times a week? We'll do them all together. We'll just spend 30 minutes doing. You're missing out on opportunity when you're doing it all by yourself. For those of you out there that have been struggling with the NPTE right now, that are doing it all by yourself, just like Coach K, I am a lone wolf. Well, I've learned that we do things better together, right? But in the past, and my natural nature is to be a lone wolf. Do it all by myself. I can figure it out. I can do it. I don't want to bother anybody. I don't want to ask for help. I don't want to do that because I can do it. I can do it. And then you wind up running yourself into the ground. You get yourself 3 attempts in, 4 attempts in, 5 attempts in of doing it all by yourself. And then by then you're freaking exhausted. Like you don't even have the mental capacity to now be in a group anymore because you're so exhausted. So it's like you're literally running yourself into the ground. I hope that you're hearing Sean tonight. He's giving you the secrets for success. And for a lot of you, it starts with asking for help, reaching out, doing something different, trying a new opportunity. At the beginning, for those of y'all who were here, I said that Sean was different. I brought Sean up on this stage as an interview because he's different. I don't do this with everybody. Sean has 3 key elements. He's a hard worker. A lot of people are that, though. But he's a hard worker. Hold on. He's also committed. He's also disciplined. Those 3 things together, there's magic behind it. I could tell you right now, with those 3 elements together, it's only a matter of time before you pass. It's only a matter of time. And Sean will tell you, yeah, it was going to happen. He was going to will it to happen. He made it happen. Here's the thing. He was committed to the process, though. When there was an opportunity that kind of showed itself, he could have sat back. Sean, you could have sat back, and I'm going to pull you up here again in a minute, Sean. You could have sat back and said, I'll do it myself. I'm good. I think I could pass this thing. You could have sat back. But you're like, whoa. Let me take advantage of that opportunity, Coach K. I'll do it. Put me in that group. And did it not freaking change the game for you? It really did. It really freaking did. So I want you all to hear it right now, that if you're doing it by yourself, take a lesson tonight that this is an opportunity to reach out, however you reach out. Just do it differently than you've been doing it. Sean, do you agree with this?
100%.
All right. So, studying is always so difficult because there's so much to study, somebody says. What changed for you inside of the program? That's what the question is. Let me read it to you again. Studying is always so difficult because there's just so much to study. So what changed for you inside this program on this 4th attempt?
I would say that is one area that I was also struggling with prior to getting into the PT Hustle. The nice thing about the PT Hustle is we create these calendars to where you're putting specific topics each day, into what you're studying. And it makes it seem like it's not so much, because if you look at it from a broad spectrum, it's a ton of stuff you have to study. But once you break it down into key parts each day, it's just a little bit that you're picking off at a time, and it doesn't feel overwhelming.
It's huge. One of the things that I would say as a coach, just kind of biting off what you just said, Zach. Zach, oh my gosh. Zach is talking to me right now. He says, my guy went to PT school with. Let's go, Trex. They're loving you right now, Sean. Glad to have you, Zach. Sean, so, one of the things as a coach that I see, and as you were coming through, I'm always worried about this, and that's the sense of overwhelm, because I would say that that's the one thing that paralyzes anybody with NPTE prep.
Yeah.
You were able to keep a pretty cool head. I mean, you had some doubts, don't get me wrong. Everybody has that. But you kept a pretty cool head. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If you could go back and tell yourself something, your younger self, however you want to look at it, your past self, before they took the NPTE for the very first time, what would you tell them?
It's a great question.
Take your time with it, baby. Take your time with that. Let it marinate.
I would say to come up with a game plan earlier, like we were just talking about, with specific topics for each day, because I really was overwhelmed, now that I think about it, taking these earlier tests. And then with these previous tests, as it got closer to the test date, it just seemed like, man, I've already studied everything. I've already gone through this material, but I didn't have that list of things that I really needed to really hit there towards the end that would have really helped.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I can't get off this interview without talking about this past attempt, like when you went in there. And we gotta be careful not to give any specific details about questions or whatnot. But yeah, you went into this exam, and this was a little bit tougher for you than normal, right? So I want you to talk to us a little bit about how this attempt right here was tougher for you than previous ones.
Yeah, it was tougher just because of the initial day. My test was scheduled for 8:30. I did my practice run the day before. Practice run, just driving there and getting the route and everything down, seeing how traffic's going to be and everything. So I get there the day of the test at about 8 o'clock, 8:05. I go to walk in, and the one worker that was there said, sorry, you're going to have to come back in 20 minutes. I'm just like, come back in 20 minutes? What's going on here? And they said their servers were down. So I go back out to the parking lot, back to my car. 20 minutes later, I go back in. Same response. So by this time, there's 10 to 15 people outside, just like wondering, are we going to be able to take our test today? What's going on here? So by this time, it's like, shoot, I think 9 o'clock. We go inside. We're just sitting inside waiting, and they basically offered us two options. You can reschedule. We'll give you a phone number to reschedule, or you can just sit here until the servers come back on and wait. So I just sat there and I waited. Yeah, it was a pretty stressful morning, to say the least.
I believe it. I believe it. So wait, you didn't even have this type of experience on any of the previous attempts at all, right?
No.
And so what was, like, when you sent that message to me, I was like, wow. So you mean to tell me that this was the hardest test? First of all, out of all the students that I've been talking to, they said that this was a pretty hard attempt. It was pretty hard. Now, here's the thing. Not only was it a harder attempt, but you actually had poorer conditions this time, where they were delaying you. And you know how in the coaching program, I talked to you about making sure that things are lined up and you do the mental imagery and you have things all in place.
Yeah.
They actually threw you a wild curveball.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't imagining starting my test at 10:30 that day.
Yo,
that wasn't in the imagery.
Wait, so when were you supposed to start again?
I was supposed to start at 8:30, but previously when you get there at like 8 o'clock or something like that, they usually get you in within 10, 15 minutes. So you usually
Yeah.
start it before your time even.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you started this thing 2 hours later. That's not the way you've been practicing at all.
no,
And this was your fourth attempt, correct?
correct.
Fourth attempt. And you passed it.
Yes.
Wow. You know what that says to me? And a lot of people don't see it this way because they're not looking at it this way. Sean, you had to have had a ton of cushion, a ton of wiggle room in order for you to still perform at a passing level. Because 2 hour difference in taking a test is a big difference. I mean, that really throws off your, not just your mentality, but you know how you get tired during certain parts of the day. Of course, they actually
Absolutely.
start to, they shifted you into a tired zone for sure, but you were still able to pass it. How incredible is that? How freaking incredible is that, y'all? This man was able to do that. Congratulations, Sean. That says a lot about you, man. It really does.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It really does. And I don't even know if it really hit home with you just yet. I think you still got the whole post passing the NPTE kind of feels.
Oh,
But
absolutely. It definitely has not fully hit yet.
tell us a little bit about what you plan on doing. You know, now that you pass, what's going to be your present to yourself and what you're doing moving forward?
The present's going to be my girlfriend and I are going on vacation to the Florida Keys, which we're extremely excited about. We haven't been on vacation in like 2 years. So we're excited to get to the beach and kind of just relax.
Awesome. That is so freaking awesome. Actually, because it's on my mind, tell us a little bit about how you found out about your past results.
So the day of the results, Coach K messaged us in the app that we use saying that some results are being released. And I was on my way to go fishing with my dad. So I was driving. So my girlfriend actually reached out. I reached out to her asking if she would check and everything because she had the access to it. And she ends up calling me and letting me know I passed. And it was just a wild experience just driving down the road, hearing that. It was
That is
wild.
awesome. That is awesome. I mean, just hearing that story gives me chills, y'all. It gives me chills because don't forget, Sean had failed the exam 3 times. And this moment when she had called you and told you that you passed, like, I know you probably can't recreate that feeling in that moment, but was it worth it? Was the wait worth it?
Absolutely. Totally worth it.
Y'all, I know that you're in a situation right now, some of you, whether you got the exam coming up, whether you took the exam multiple times and you're taking it in October. Listen to me. Listen to me. I know that you feel that it's over for you. I know that you may feel that this is like just going to be a continuous thing that just goes and goes and you're never going to get your reward for all the hard work that you put in. But let me tell you right now, that's just not how it goes. It's not. That's what the enemy wants you to believe. That enemy that speaks the negativity in your head, it wants you to believe that you're doing all this for nothing, that you're washed up, that you won't ever be a good PT. You're not worthy. Even if you did become a PT, you're not worthy of it because you failed the NPTE or you just didn't do well in PT school. The enemy is telling you that. But I'm here to tell you right now that the students who I coach, who have failed the exam multiple times, every single one of them, every single one says it was worth it. It was worth it. The moment when they get their past results, however they get it, they say it was worth it and their life changes forever. So I'm here to tell you right now that you might be stuck. And I don't want you to just hear it from me, but I want you to listen to someone who has gone through the killer blows of not passing the NPTE. He has told you tonight. He wasn't just struck one time. He wasn't just struck twice. He was struck 3 times and he kept going. And at the end of it, he still claimed his victory. At the end of it, he still said it was worth it. And at the end of it, he has some amazing, amazing tips to help you reach the same exact feeling. It's incredible. Sean, Brother, I want to thank you for being here. It's been absolutely phenomenal. Yo, if y'all are in the comment box right now, like, give Sean some love for taking out his time to be here tonight. He didn't have to do it, but Coach had to plead with this man to get him up here, because I knew this is one of the people that you should look up to. You should, because he has some characteristics that are not just going to push this profession further, but he's going to be a game changer for his patients and their lives and their families' lives and so forth. And so I want to thank you for being here, Sean.
Yeah, Coach, thank you very much for having me.
You got it, my man. You got it. It was an absolute privilege to coach you. I mean, I'm your coach forever, so just remember that. But it was a privilege to coach you along this process. Carrie says, way to go, Dr. Sean. Nicole says, he's humble. Yes, my man is. She says, thank you for sharing your experience and providing inspiration to those of us who are still fighting to reach the past. Sean,
Absolutely. Keep pushing.
Is there anything that you want to say to the people that are listening to you right now? And I'm talking about people who have struggled with standardized exams just like you, who are feeling like, I don't know if this is ever going to work out for me.
Honestly, just don't give up. Always try to find that study tool that's going to help you the best, or try to get around people that are going to help you study in a way that works for you the most.
Absolutely. Hannah, I don't know if you're still live. I really want to come back to this question. I want to make sure that we get everything answered. She says, I'm trying to figure out how to juggle studying effectively and being energized for that with also working full time. She's very busy. Did you study 4 hours at a time? Some in the morning and then the evening? I have been developing my plan, but I'm also looking for a little bit of input here. What would you say, Sean?
What I did was I kind of split it into sections. Within the program, we kind of look for power hours, which are those hours that were going to be the most efficient studying. And mine was like, I think 9 to 11:30, and then like 1:30 to 4ish, somewhere in there. So that's mainly what I went with. And I also was working as well, so I totally understand what that's like. A few other things to help with some of that, or some podcasts to listen to really help provide some motivation. That really helped me a lot. I know the Brendan Burchard podcast was really helpful.
Love it, man. Love it. Hey, he's giving the absolute fire to you, Hannah. Hopefully that helps you keep absolutely pushing. Sean, before you run, we have some students right now that are listening to this that are looking for help for October right now. They're like, I need some coaching. I need the guidance. I'm not going to do this by myself anymore. What would you say to somebody who was on the fence about jumping into the PT Hustle community and doing a coaching program?
I would say I wouldn't even think twice about it. I would definitely do it.
Y'all heard it here first.
It's extremely helpful, and it provides a totally different outlook on how to study based on what you're doing initially or right now.
Absolutely, y'all. You heard it from Dr. Sean. Again, Dr. Sean Trexler in the building. I just want to say thank you so much for being here, brother. It is a privilege to bring you on. Anything that the PT Hustle family could do for you, you let us know. But again, we want to thank you for being here. Any last words, brother?
I just want to say thank you for having me, and I really hope this helps someone out there.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. So as I pull y'all back, I just want to say thank you all for being here today. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight. It was a pleasure for me. There was a lot of gems that he dropped tonight. If you're just tuning in right now and you missed some of the things, I'm telling you, this is a worthy live to replay. Go back over. For a lot of you, you're just one bit away from being able to dominate the NPTE, but you're holding yourself back. If you're taking the exam in October and you've been doing it by yourself, if you're taking the exam in October and you've been trying something that just hasn't worked, I want you to know that I'm a human first. I accept people second. And third, I'm a coach to help you dominate the NPTE. I want to make sure that you go into this and crush it and get out there and do the dream job that you've been wanting to do. You work too hard for this. You work too hard to continue to do it by yourself and end up failing repeatedly. I'm reaching out my hand as an opportunity to help take you to that next level and give you the coaching that you deserve. For those of you who are taking the exam in October, I want you to put down October in the comment box. If you're looking to see if the PT Hustle can help you, what we'll do is we'll reach out to you via Facebook Messenger or whatnot and see if the PT Hustle is a good fit and if we can help you to dominate the NPTE. So if you're taking the exam in October, you're looking for a coach, you're looking for a system to help you dominate, but most of all, you're looking to get to your dream job, I want you to put October in the comment box, and one of our NPT specialists will reach out to you today, maybe early tomorrow between then, all right? I'm always looking to serve every single one of you. I want to congratulate those of you who have taken the NPTE as well. For those of you who are going to take the NPTE, go out there and absolutely smash it. Coach K, we'll see you on the next one.